What's up, Capital Wastelanders? How are you liking our new starting location? I figured since we playing as 3Dog that we're gonna start near GNR. The TLDR is that I just played normally up to this point, and for today's story, it's warranted. Also just wanted to try something new. Let me know if you like or don't like this little setup. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome, and I hope you stay a while and listen. Here on this channel, we run challenges as characters, but also try to make decisions based upon the character itself. That said, I did have to improvise a little bit. As this isn't a pacifist run, I really should try and see if that's possible in Fallout 3. My thought process was, 3Dog isn't a fighter, so let's roll with some basic gear. And voila! I have a Fallout New Vegas run with 3Dog, courtesy of Tale of Two Wastelands, and I drew inspiration from that run to give our protagonist some weapons. As 3Dog isn't a fighter, I thought that the 32 pistol and the knife were great choices. In addition to those, in the FNV run, I gave 3Dog a single shotgun, but since that does not exist in Fallout 3, I went with the next best thing, double barrel shotgun. We have nothing great for long-range combat, but we do have several options, suboptimal though they may be, for mid to close quarters combat. And I mean, the knife is just terrible, but at least we won't have to worry about ammo for it. So, just to summarize, here's what I gave 3Dog. It's on screen now. 32 pistol, knife, double barrel shotty. And gotta say too, one of the things I really enjoy about Fallout 3 challenges is the game's repair system. Man, New Vegas is so lenient with repair, which I don't mind when it comes to doing these challenges, but knowing that I'll have to resort to vendors for repairs, as well as potentially allocate some points into my repair skill, it adds a bit more to the challenge, you know? Weapon and armor durability have a direct impact on our combat prowess. The better the condition, the better they are in combat. It's crazy, right? Point being that there's a bit of bottle cap management and consideration for the repair skill investment that comes with these challenges, and I like it. Oh, and real quick, here's 3Dog's special allocation. Pretty good, honestly. I always enjoy playing with characters with a decent charisma score, and that charisma score is actually going to help us here in Fallout 3. No charisma 1, speech 100 here. I mean, you can, but your speech check is still gonna be terrible. Speaking of our Fallout New Vegas 3Dog run, this is not a prequel to that run's story. Our two Butch DeLoria runs have continuity between them, but these two 3Dog runs do not. You should also check out the 3Dog FNV run. It was a ton of fun, and to date is one of my favorite runs on the channel. With all that said, let's go ahead and set the scene. This takes place shortly after James meets up with 3Dog, but he receives no visit from the Lone Wanderer. Everything lines up with the main timeline up to this point, mostly. We'll get to that, though. 3Dog and the Lion Sprite have a working relationship, they protect him and get to use GNR as a base of operations. And while 3Dog isn't combat hardened like the BOS soldiers who protect him, I like to think that he can fight at least on a basic level. I figure that is the case because there is dialogue where he tells the Lone Wanderer that there have been attempts on his life, and he has survived up to this point. So, what changes? Well, since there's no Lone Wanderer to help with his radio station, and the Lion Sprite have refused to aid him in this endeavor, 3Dog takes a major gamble and goes himself. He does have a replacement, Margaret, which you can see in Fallout 3 if you kill 3Dog, but that's very uncool to do, who plays music while he heads out to get the radar dish needed to expand the range of his broadcasts. As for the Lone Wanderer, typically I just have it to where they die trying to leave Vault 101 since it's the most convenient option for these stories, but not this time. In this AU, there's also been a slight change in James's original plan to leave the vault. Remember I said things mostly line up here. James doesn't just up and leave behind the Overseer's back. He's able to convince him to be allowed to leave. Permanent exile in exchange for his next of kin's safety. And yeah, I know that sounds very strange, but I'm happy to tell you that this is not some one-off plot device. But I'll cover that here in just a sec. While 3Dog traverses the metro and has a heck of a time in the process, I'm happy to announce my upcoming and first What If. Yeah, I make what ifs while performing challenges, but that's not what I mean. This what if the Lone Wanderer was allowed to stay in Vault 101, is going to be a full-on story. It's a new type of content I've been wanting to introduce to the channel for quite a while, and this run felt like the perfect time to introduce that. I needed to do something besides just kill off the lone wanderer, so hey, 2 birds, 1 stone, yo. I have a couple of fun what-ifs in mind, but this is the one I'll be completing first. Now, don't think that because James was able to convince the Overseer to let him leave that things are all good for the lone wanderer. We know how Alphonse feels about non-vault dwellers, but hey, Jonas may or may not have a different fate. What about Amada? What'll come of Butch? Well, my friend, you'll have to tune into that video to find out, and I will notify you guys on the community page. Well, that's enough of hyping up that what-if. This is a Fallout 3 AU where 3Dog is the hero, so let's get back to it. Oh, and speaking of these challenges, those of you who are new can also look forward to something a little extra in these Fallout 3 runs. By popular vote, the fans have decided that I have to obtain the bobbleheads pertaining to our tagged skills. Hey, speaking of which, here's 3Dogs. Almost 6 minutes into the challenge. Barter means we're going to Evergreen Mills. Haven't been there since the Preston Garvey run. Speech is great because we're going to Paradise Falls anyway, as 3Dog would certainly want to do something about them. But the one that really caught my interest is Lockpick. Man, I haven't been to the Bethesda Ruins in years before this challenge. I believe the last time I was there is when I played Tale of Two Wastelands for the first time. About 4 years ago when I was living way in West Virginia, good old Morgantown. Time flies, yo. I actually don't remember what's there, and I don't remember exactly where the bobblehead is, so not only are we getting a new location in one of our Fallout 3 runs, but I'm effectively going in blind, since I only remember the general look of the exterior of the ruins. Nothing of what we're fighting, nothing of the interior, or if there are any traps. I'm pretty sure there are, though, because, hey, what better place to lay traps than ruins, right? Anyway, back to our scene setting. To get to GNR, again, I just played the game normally up to that point with me grabbing a couple of fast travel points along the way because I did need to go back for some ammunition. Best way to think of this is if you fire up Fallout 3 and get the option to play as 3Dog and start at GNR. But sinking our claws into the story here, we know even in the main timeline that 3Dog had a high opinion of James based on a solid first impression, so I'm sure their paths will cross again at some point. Who knows, maybe he'd be down for the good fight. But yeah, 3Dog's little adventure to the Museum of Tech has been a bit of an eye-opener for our guy here. I was actually really happy with how this turned out because not only was it difficult, but I had to pop a stealth boy that I got from here to escape because I didn't want to fight anymore. My healing's low, my weapon condition's not great. And this kind of solution just feels right for someone like 3Dog. He's not very experienced in combat. Again, he can defend himself, but he's not combat hardened like many of the other characters we encounter in the game. Well, this'll be a good lesson for good old 3Dog in regards to the super mutants. They might be big and dumb, mostly, but they are also pretty darn tough. With the dish in hand, 3Dog heads down to the Washington Monument, where there are a couple Brotherhood of Steel Knights holed up there. So easy access for him, he installs the dish, all that good stuff. Having pointed James in the direction of Rivet City, 3Dog decides to go there himself and potentially recruit James for the good fight. And, well, he wasn't there and was told that James went to Jefferson Memorial. I imagine that 3Dog's thoughts immediately drift to the worst because, I mean, James seemed like a nice guy, but in a place infested with super mutants, either James got here before they did, most likely, or he was able to stealth his way past all of these guys. Maybe James has been hoarding all of our stealth boys. And because the super mutants hit harder than we do, and frankly are better armed than us, outside of maybe our double-barrel shotgun, the name of the game here is to lure them to us, and we can take pot shots at them. Open the door, they'll open the door, we can get a shot off, we can close the door, rinse and repeat. After taking down the third one here, we can go ahead and switch to our knife, and now that it's one-on-one, we can go ahead and slice up this super mutant here, circling around him so that he hits us as little as possible. It's amazing what a little bit of resupplying can do for us, especially since we have flak and shrapnel we can stop by now. Now, as we make our way to the basement to battle one of the brutes, our little scuffle with the one hiding out where the lone wanderer was born ends up luring these guys up, which is fine by me. Or so I thought. Turns out it was just the one, so we'll go ahead and switch to our 32. And we're gonna lure up the super mutant brute along with his buddy. And similar tactics as before. We're gonna use the terrain to our advantage here, banking around corners, luring them, making sure that we get the first shot. Now, the basic super mutant isn't too bad to deal with, but the brute takes a ton of hits to put down. That's not surprising, because super mutant brutes this early in the game are pretty fearsome opponents. And for these last two, the brute and his buddy, switch to the knife, go ahead and chop them up. Getting some real mileage out of this weapon. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but at least it is reliable in the regard that we don't have to worry about ammunition for it. Gotta go get it repaired, though, because it's seen better days. After finding out that James isn't here, we're gonna go ahead and head on over to the Bethesda Ruins, the first of 3 locations where our tagged skill bobblehead is, and holy mackerel, I was not ready for this place. So, turns out that these ruins are infested with raiders. I should have seen that one coming. I was thinking super mutants, but I must have mixed that up with another location. Again, it's been about 4 years since I've been here. Individually or in pairs, the raiders aren't too bad, especially those with the melee weapons. That Mark V turret is a whole different ballgame, however. I'm starting to have a shootout with it, but I'm like, wait, hold on. I have a science of 50. I think it's 55 right now, actually. So I can hack the terminal and then just shut it down. And, even better, the experience points we gain from passing that skill check brings us to level 7. Okay, my science is 52. I knew it was above 50. We'll get our lockpick to 50, sneak to 40, and small guns, we'll go ahead and bump that up to 36. We've been using our shotgun and our pistol quite a bit. And we'll take a rank in Thief to get an extra 5 points in Sneak and Lockpick. Now, as I'm here exploring the place, there's a real creeping sense of dread here, because I'm thinking that can't be the last of the raiders here. Compared to the ones outside, too, I'm sure there's quite a few more. Now, you guys are not ready for what's about to happen here. No, I don't mean passing that lockpick skill check. But as I'm looting the frag grenades, the dirty water, all that good stuff, figure I'll sell the grenades and I can use the dirty water for some minor healing. We get jumped by a couple more raiders. One of them is rocking a flamer, and man, does it deal a lot of damage to us. The Merc Cruiser outfit's not too bad here in Fallout 3, but it is light armor, and flamers tear through light armor like butter. We came pretty darn close to dying. Thankfully, I'm able to recollect myself here, and then deal out some punishment to these guys. Now, I'm going to say that the in-character reason for why 3 Dog is here at the Bethesda Ruins is that he's looking for more salvage and more equipment that could potentially help out back at GNR. Maybe there's something that can further expand his broadcasts. Traveling in this direction is also a good way to perform, shall we say, field testing, because he can pop on GNR, Margaret can play music, and if he's hearing it all the way out there, then yeah, something's going right. Maybe there's something in these ruins that the raiders and other scavengers haven't picked out of this place. Oh, and I had to resupply and come back here because I was just kind of exploring, and then I got into those fights, and I was like, oh boy, yeah, if there's more, we're going to be in some serious trouble. Turns out that was the right call, too, because there are raiders aplenty here in the eastern wing of the Bethesda Ruins. And while there have been some benefits to exploring these ruins, such as getting more supplies, cleaning out raiders because less raiders in the wasteland is better for everybody, unfortunately 3 Dog doesn't find anything pertaining to radio equipment, so his main objective turns out to be a bit of a bust, but just something that feels great about purging raiders, just wiping them out because of all the evil, heinous things that they do. 3 Dog wants to fight the good fight, well, he's certainly been doing that here. And I have to say, coming up, I have a rather high-risk, kinda high-ish reward, as in the reward is I get to live. There's another raider with a flamer, and I'm like, alright, you know, let's just go with the knife here, because I don't feel like using more ammunition. We got plenty of stim packs hotkeyed, so we're good to go there. And it turns out that I am rewarded for my boldness, because although that raider does quite a bit of damage to us, doesn't do enough. We're able to, I'm not going to say out-damage, but outlast the raider with our puny knife. So there's just a little bit more of this place to explore, and it's pretty much uneventful for the rest of the time, just rummaging through here. Nothing catches 3 Dog's interest, but there is something that catches our interest, as I fail at the hacking minigame, which I will succeed at here in a second. I do spy, with my little eye, a certain little bobblehead, the lockpick bobblehead. I always love these things. They're such great rewards for exploring. Awesome little additions to each dungeon. Always strive for the unobtainable. Right you are, lockpick bobblehead. Now, earlier in the video, I had mentioned some dialogue from the actual game from the main timeline, in which the Lone Wanderer can learn that there have been attempts on 3 Dog's life. Well, here in this AU, since he's going out fighting the good fight as a foot soldier as well, I like to imagine that battling the Talon Company feels pretty legitimate because if there's any attempts on his life, the Talon Company is definitely gonna be spearheading in an attempt to get that bounty. And so I had to include this fight here because the battle against the Talon Company mercs here is absolutely insane. Having disposed of a pair of grunts, we are now fighting a sentry bot. So it's time to pull out a knife and speed up footage like crazy while we circle around this thing. Melee kiting, I guess you could call it. Yeah, we do not want this thing hitting us. It does a ton of damage. I'm just glad it's not the sentry bot from Fallout 4. That thing is a whole different beast. As we take it down, there is a Talon Company merc with a sniper rifle in close quarters combat. That's smart. And apparently our puny knife has the Vorpal enchantment. That's cool. But yeah, I was on the way to Arlington Library anyway. I am doing Moira Brown's Wasteland Survival Guide because I do think that's something 3Dog would do. But at the time of these battles, I haven't gotten that quest yet. I just wanted to get the fast travel point. And because there's the scribe inside who will give you 100 bottle caps for every pre-war book you give her, I can see 3Dog doing this little favor for them. He gets money to fund GNR, and they get their lost, not tech, lost history. Equally valuable, in my opinion. Next up, we're going for our speech bobblehead, and that means we have to get into Paradise Falls, which for us means we're going to give Grouse an instance of buckshot greeting. We did almost one-shot him, so with better conditioning and a bit better skill, we probably would have. It doesn't matter, though. He goes down super easy. As for his little buddy here, we'll deal some serious damage with the double-barrel shotty, switch to our 32 pistol to conserve our shotgun shells, take him down. And so far, this challenge has been, well, challenging, definitely tough. I don't feel like it's agonizingly, so I'm enjoying it very much so far. No fight has really been easy. I mean, Jefferson Memorial was the easiest so far, but it still took quite a while to clear through that due to our weak weapons and us just not being able to deal much damage. But it makes a lot of sense considering that we're playing as 3Dog, a character who isn't the most combat savvy. But if there's any more training he needs, this run through Paradise Falls is going to be a serious boot camp. I like to imagine that Eulogy Jones and the folks here in Paradise Falls have an interest in the bounty on 3Dog. In their minds, they could capture him, slap a collar on him, get some work out of him, and then turn him in for the bounty because all of that would just be bragging rights for them, and he's come right to their doorstep. Well, hold that thought there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be as easy as you think. Because 3Dog, yeah, he's been getting stronger. Interestingly enough, Eulogy's little foot soldiers here will never follow you outside. I kind of wonder why that is. I mean, I would get it if the door was locked, but it isn't. That's fine. We can use this to our advantage as well. Most of 3Dog's battles have been tactical in some way, shape, or form, so it's good that that's consistent at least. And I figure, since we hop back inside, we're going to go ahead and target the Nameless Slavers first because they seem to have the lowest health. I'm just glad we have so many shotgun shells at our disposal. I make sure to grab the missile launcher as well before any of the slavers can because, well, if one picks it up and grabs the missile off of their dead companion, that's bad for us. The enemies in this game seem to like using missile launchers point blank. I mean, the raiders do. I don't know about the slavers here at Paradise Falls. And gotta say, although the entrance is intense and pretty tough, as we're clearing our way through here bit by bit and keeping alive through use of hotkeyed stim packs, man, I love that. We've only got a couple more to take out, at least in this area here, with Carolina Red being the last of this little litter. It's just funny, every time I see that name, I don't even remotely remember anything that character does. I don't know if she gives a quest or something. Well, in this run, she gives experience points and loot, so that's cool too. As we advance closer to Yolis Pad, we're going to go ahead and clear out the rest of the guys out here before we head inside and deal with the big man himself. This part coming up here is pretty funny. You got Jotun with metal armor and a super sledge charging at a dude, aiming a double-barrel shotgun at him. And big shock, he gets blown to bits courtesy of Bloody Mess. Hey, there's a question. Is there anybody out there who actually does not like the Bloody Mess perk? That's something that dawned on me earlier today. I was like, does anybody actually not like this? I'd love to know why. Maybe I'll make that a poll sometime. But yeah, Paradise Falls, the last bit of it, turns out to be pretty easy. Although we haven't fought Eulogy yet, he does have a scoped 44 Magnum, and we have terrible armor, so that actually could be tough. Ymir and the rest of the slavers weren't so, and unfortunately for Frank the bartender, rather than getting brained by Ymir's super sledge, in this run, since he is hostile to us, although he's not attacking, we're gonna go ahead and switch to the knife and take him out. All said and done, we're gonna go ahead, kick down the door to Yolis Pad and take him down and get our speech bobblehead. And it turns out I was right to be concerned because he's doing quite a bit of damage to us and he does cripple our head as well. The shootout we have with Eulogy Jones is pretty intense. Gotta say, it's the most intense we've had on the channel up to date, pretty sure. You feel free to fact check me on that. Eulogy and Three Dog could not be any different as people, and the good fight has been straight up brought to Paradise Falls. And voila, we have the speech bobblehead. Let your words be your weapon. Can definitely see that quote applying to Three Dog. And just like at Paradise Falls, Three Dog decides to head on over to Evergreen Mills because there's just something invigorating about fighting the good fight. I mean, through words, that's always nice too. Giving inspirational, catching speeches over the radio is one thing, but just sticking it to the bad guys is just a whole other level. And hey, speaking of a whole other level, I'm going to show you a fun little trick I like to do whenever I come here, because we can make this place a lot easier through help of an enemy. You know how they say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Well, after engaging in a bit of rooftop parkour, we're able to get on over to a cage containing a super mutant behemoth. Gonna switch to our 32 pistol for this. Gonna destroy the generator that powers that electric cage and just let him go. Takes all 5 shots from us, but hey, I don't mind. I mostly use the 32 pistol to clear out common vermin and random encounters. I did this in my Preston Garvey run as well, and the super mutant behemoth kills quite a few raiders for us, but as you're seeing on screen, he's taking quite a bit of damage. The raiders seem fairly coordinated this time around. And honestly, that suits me just fine, because I'd rather have the raiders actually kill the super mutant behemoth, because there's only going to be a couple of them left, and we can pick them off. That also means we do not have to deal with that super mutant behemoth. Really not eager to fight another one of those things. I know it's playing a little fast, but kudos to that raider who charged at a super mutant behemoth with a tire iron. You'd either need a lot of psycho or a lot of mentats to pull off a stunt like that. So as we drop down, take just a little bit of damage, nothing to worry about. We can pick off one of the last raiders here, and then make our way on over and just start looting corpses. I did find it pretty amusing that the super mutant behemoth had, I think, 133 bottle caps on him. He must be saving up cash. Or rather, he was. It's gonna be ours here in a sec. But yeah, now that we're at Evergreen Mills, let's take the good fight to these raiders and go get our barter bobblehead. It's the last one that we need, and then we can continue on with the main story. Now, I imagine that Three Dog has listened to these holotapes at this point because he got the ones that he could from Jefferson Memorial. So by this point, he's figured out that James is at Vault 112. I imagine Three Dog's initial thoughts on that are, oh, he's going to a vault. That's cool. Well, hopefully he can get what he needs there. I'm sure that's going to be a... And, I mean, the guy lived in a vault for quite a while, so I'm sure that he's right at home there. Oh, and you'll notice that the screen got a fair bit brighter. Yeah, it's really dark in here, and I didn't want you guys to see me just attacking the darkness. So I brightened this up in editing for you. Now, that's going to show in quite a big way here, because I miss a fair bit, some of my shots. Sometimes I'm not quite as close as I should be with the knife. That's because I'm going through the game's typical darkness here. You guys don't have to. But all in all, our initial attack on the raiders here at Evergreen Mills so far is going off without a hitch. I mean, obviously outside we had our big green buddy help us out. And inside here are the raiders. There aren't too many of them. It's way less intense than it was over at the Bethesda Ruins. Still, though, between having to reload after every shot we take and the weapon's poor conditioning, causing us to act up, weapon gems, all that stuff that's not cool. Some of the raiders do get away. They will come back, though. Don't worry about that. And even if they didn't, I would hunt down those XP snacks to the ends of the earth. And what's pretty sweet is that amongst the loot here in this first part of Evergreen Mills, I believe it's the Foundry, we also got a laser rifle. We can go give that to Protector Cast in later. Yeah, I did that too, because, I mean, it's like going there for the Fort Independence repeatable turn-in is just awesome for these runs. And I can see Three Dog being curious about these outcasts, and the fact that they have a little buddy-buddy system, bartering energy weapons with healing, RadAway, ammunition, all that good stuff. That also contributes to the good fight in its own way. Man, once we start fighting some Enclave goons, we can turn in their power armor, and then we'll be swimming in stim packs. But yeah, these raiders, nothing to really write home about. We can also rest in the bedroll for an hour, heal our limbs, get full health, which is pretty amazing. Once the place is searched and cleared out, we're gonna go ahead and jump ahead a fair bit here, because most of the fights going forward are just one-on-one or one-on-two, very easy stuff. Now, there is a raider merchant who's not hostile unless we attack him. That's also very useful because we have some stuff we gotta sell. And I figure, I don't think Three Dog's gonna attack a guy who hasn't attacked him. Smiling Jack just appears to be a merchant just selling to some unsavory characters. But as he listens to Smiling Jack's choice and vernacular, he's able to piece together what this guy is, but it's actually better to leave him alive. That way, this guy can also spread Three Dog's message. But yeah, once we sell to this guy and buy a few things off of him, let's go ahead and get our Bartle bobblehead. Now, like I mentioned before, I have brightened the footage up a little bit. Makes it easier on you guys, and you can see here that I'm actually struggling to find the bottle cap mine. It's like I see it on the screen, I'm like, alright, where is it? Where is it? And there we go. We have found the Vault-Tec Limited Edition bobblehead. Never forget to walk away with more than you've brought. With all three bobbleheads secure, it's time to go find James and run through Tranquility Lane, our obligatory mention of it. Obviously, Three Dog is going to pick the good option here because I don't see him playing with a good old Dr. Betty. So after this, he escorts James on over to Rivet City. They catch up a bit. James is interested in the good fight, and a way to help with that is Project Purity, something that Three Dog is fully on board with. And it seems like things are going a-okay up until a certain faction appears and starts wreaking havoc. The Enclave have shown up, so it's time to start swimming in stim packs. After we pot-shot the first Enclave goon with our 32 pistol, doesn't do too much damage even with a sneak attack crit. Doesn't matter though, we got his attention, we circle up, fight him, and man, that double-barrel shotgun's doing quite a bit of damage. We bank the corner to avoid his shot, pop back out, and take him down. And now, before we enter the Rotunda and play out the Colonel Autumn cutscene, we're gonna go ahead and deal with the second patrolling Enclave goon. That'll also make it a lot easier when we escort Madison Lee to Taft Tunnels. Well, Three Dog, all that training you've been doing in the form of killing super mutants and raiders has led up to this point. The Enclave is the antithetical to Three Dog's ideology, so you know he's enjoying this. Now, I showed you a fun little trick over at Evergreen Mills. Check this out. If you pickpocket Colonel Autumn and you fail at it, well, it speeds things along a little bit. All I gotta do is tilt the camera and position your character just right. It's pretty hilarious, actually. That's not the only thing that you can do here, too. So, as James sacrifices himself to save Three Dog and Dr. Lee, well, before we leave, we're gonna go ahead and do this little trick one more time. We can loot Colonel Autumn's trench coat and his pistol, and James even has his own unique jumpsuit. Well, give me a sec here, just trying to fiddle with the camera to get this just right. I love how you can do this. It's like, you get to interact with these guys in a way that the devs never intended. And it feels just right for a Bethesda game. Oh, and normally I don't talk much about Taft Tunnels, but it was actually kind of hard in this run, considering that my main course of action is to use a knife, and I did give Daniel Agincourt the Scoped 44 Magnum. Due to our level, most of the feral ghouls were roamers, so they packed quite a punch. At least we did it now, and not when they would become feral ghoul reavers. Next up is Little Lamplight, because we helped out the Lamplighters, rescued the kids, all that good stuff. We can skip over Murder Pass, courtesy of Joseph, and before we advance, we're going to backtrack a little bit, because there are a couple of supplies that I want for the dark road ahead. Nuka-Cola Quantum, a Stealth Boy, and we can even lockpick the ammo box, get a little bit of XP. We don't need the ammo from any of the ammo cases here, but hey, it doesn't hurt to have, and selling ammo we don't need makes us some cashish. And starting things off, we're going to be taking out the rad roaches with a knife. We want to keep these nice and quiet so we don't alert the super mutants in the adjacent corridor. We will pull them, but we're the ones who want the element of surprise. The sneak attack crit does very little, but that's okay. We're going to switch over to our double barrel shotgun and start going ham. We'll start off by going after the basic super mutant. It is the weakest unit, and the less units that we have to fight, the better it is for us. Less damage we take, you know the drill. It does take a couple of fairly well-placed shots, but one of the two brutes goes down and we have tons of ammo left. Although if we run down to one, we won't be able to use this weapon because it is a double-barrel shotgun. We get a nice bloody mess kill finishing off that last brute, so we're gonna go ahead and make our way upstairs. Man, those guys went down fast. Now, the fight with this brute was pretty funny as he goes down to 2 health bars. What would have been the killing blow ends with us shooting the sledgehammer. It's like this dude just refused to die for the next few seconds. And I have to say, I'm kinda surprised that our commotion was loud enough to draw the super mutant brute who's normally hanging out on the walkway. I didn't think we were that close to it, but it's fine by me. Anytime he goes to swing, we just back up a little bit out of his range, although sometimes I fail at that. Still trying to learn the range on that. And gotta say, I'm loving these bloody mess procs. Like, isn't that based upon your luck stat or something? All said and done, we're gonna go ahead head towards said walkway. We do have one more mutant to pull, but no big deal. Since it's a one-on-one, we can very easily overpower this guy. And once we do take him out, it's gonna be smooth sailing for quite a while here. Now, because I did the Wasteland Survival Guide and a bunch of other fun stuff, I have a lot of stealth boys. I also discovered a new one, at least new to me, I've never seen it before, over at the Arlington Library. Now, just because we're stealthed, however, doesn't mean that we're not going to engage in some action. I mean, we're going to avoid the remaining mutants down here. Once we're in the next area, we can pop open that door, take aim, and take out a super mutant brute with a single critical sneak attack. Love it. It will draw the attention of a Centaur, but that's no big deal. And as we rummage through this room and get ready to battle the Centaur, I'm not sure why my sneak attack crit didn't do much damage. Maybe there's a part on its body that just has like high damage resistance or DT or something. Was still very easy to take out. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Our stealth boy keeps us hidden from the patrolling super mutant brute. We take him out with a sneak attack and we pretty much have free reign of the place now. Now, why is that, you ask? Because we are going to get Fox, because I definitely think 3Dog would free him, and be very interested in hearing what a super mutant who is also a pretty good person has to say. And due to our ocean of stealth boys, we can sneak right on over, activate the fire alarm, and then Fox is going to help us get to the Gek, and we'll have him get it this time too, because again, being in character, yeah, 3Dog's not going in that chamber. And as we get ready to do another stealth boy run, I happen to find one in a locker. I love when that happens. Anyway, as Colonel Autumn, now that we're in Raven Rock, has put a hit on us, we can use the stealth boy and then just make our way on over to his personal quarters, where we're gonna go pick up a couple of important things. Now, we don't need the energy weapons bobblehead, but I'ma get it anyway. We're also gonna grab that first aid box, carefully hidden on top of the left locker there, rummage through, grab some electron charge packs, but what we really want are the contents of that footlocker. Inside is a Zack's self-destruct holotape, which we have to listen to if we want to get the code to set off Eden's self-destruct when we meet him. That's definitely something that 3Dog would want. Oh, also, I realize now, and I'm a little bit too late to go back and revoice this, but if you're wondering why I didn't just use my Pit-Boy flashlight, it's also the same reason why I'm not using Vets, because 3Dog canonically does not have a Pit-Boy. Now, there's nothing I can do about that in terms of using it for inventory management, because it's effectively a knapsack. But I got a suggestion from a fan that if the character doesn't have a Pit-Boy, then don't use Vets. I was like, that's a great idea. I would have never thought of that, honestly. So I added to that by saying we can't use the flashlight either. And I imagine that 3Dog felt immense satisfaction at being able to set off Eden's self-destruct, and obviously he says hell no to that FEV idea. We do make our way outside of Raven Rock without incident, and we are greeted by our buddy Fox, who takes out some Enclave goons for us, and, well, when asked if he wants to join and fight the good fight, Fox, well, he says it on screen, he would be honored to follow a hero such as 3Dog. Shall we go? Yeah, we're gonna go check out our bobbleheads at our little player housing. I usually grab some extra ones like the science bobblehead, but I didn't feel like it this time. Skipping over Liberty Prime, now we are at Jefferson Memorial for round 2 against the Enclave. With Sentinel Lions and Fox at our side, we're looking pretty good here. And we're looking even better because we have stealth boys that we can take advantage of. Poor James, he never got to fight the good fight, although what he started will allow 3Dog to advance the good fight agenda, best agenda ever, in one of the best ways possible. By purifying the water of the Capital Wasteland, Project Purity, James will go down in history as one of the best members of the good fight. Not only that, but having destroyed President Eden and the main Enclave base of operations, Raven Rock, that, the inevitable showdown with Autumn, clearing out tons of super mutants and raiders, yeah, I'd say 3Dog's become quite the hero. And now, in regards to Autumn, 3Dog is someone who likes to fight with words, and I do think that he would talk him down. The good Colonel does basically surrender here, although he's allowed to walk. I'm pretty sure the Brotherhood just apprehend him anyway. There is a bit of trouble at the Purifier, however. There's some, unstable shenanigans going on here. The inside is irradiated to high heck and back. But that's okay, because we have Fox with us, and he can contribute to you-know-what in the best way possible by setting off the code 216, which also protects 3Dog and Sarah Lyons, meaning that nobody dies, and that 3Dog can continue his legacy over at GNR. I really hope you guys enjoyed that run, man. It always feels good to come back to Fallout 3 challenges with some fun story. I mean, I do love the Faction Warriors runs, but the character challenges are always so much fun for me. Like, there's so much stuff I want to add into these videos. Like, you might have noticed, I did the side quest for Vance and Arafu. Moira Brown's Wasteland Survival Guide. I almost always do that because the XP is great. You get a couple of cool perks out of it as well. Oh, and if you don't kill any of the Mirelurks, you get 3 stealth boys from it. It's 2 or 3, I don't remember which. I only remember that there are multiple stealth boys that she gives you, which is pretty sweet. Now, we've got some real exciting runs coming up here. Fallout New Vegas as Cooper Howard, that one's next, but the next Fallout 3 run I'm actually really excited for. Fallout 3 with crafted weapons only, meaning that we can't fight until we start getting schematics. I've always been a big fan of stuff like the rocket launcher, Nuka grenades, and the dart gun. I've never actually used the railway rifle in this game, so very excited for that. And after Cooper Howard's run, we should have Tale of Two Wastelands coming back, and we'll be running as a Talon Company merc. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.